There's this famous thing that goes on, social media, YouTube, where you can't clap with just one finger. You have to have all your fingers.
I have to help them to do their job, which will ultimately benefit the company and me.
For me to bill the customer, I should know, which part is completed in that business.
Hi everyone, welcome back to GEPic Journeys. I'm Shehara, your host for today's episodes. Let's face it, the paycheck is important, but it's not everything. In today's world, we are looking for more from our work experience. We want to feel fulfilled, engaged, and like we're working towards something more meaningful. That's where company culture comes in. It's the secret sauce that can turn a job into a career you're passionate about. In today's episode of GEPic Journeys, we'll dive deep into what truly matters at your workplace, exploring how company culture can impact your well-being, fuel your passion, and empower your personal growth. Joining me today are three incredible guests from fascinating backgrounds. First up, a successful entrepreneur who's dabbled in just about everything, the king of sarcasm, a true jack of all trades, and a true inspiration. Hi, Denham.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us again. Would you
Yes.
like to tell us a bit more about yourself?
You quite rightly pointed out who I was, a jack of all trades, but I won't necessarily say that I've gotten involved in a lot of things, but I love to get involved in a lot of things. But as of now, I act as director, founder, global education platform. And whilst I work on that, I do spend a bit of my time in the agriculture sector with the hope of eventually contributing to the country's economy along the lines of sending certain manufactured goods products from Sri Lanka to the US, where I am at the moment based at. I'm here on a short visit. In addition to that, I do get myself involved with a few other things because I find it very, I find it very enthralling to be involved in multiple things, to learn how things go about. I guess my background, if I speak about my background, I come from the education sector. I worked for quite some time in a company called London School of Marketing, and that's where I started my career. Whilst working there, I was exposed to multiple fields, areas with various people through conversations and all that stuff. But I think the turning point started when turning point in me wanting to be involved in multiple things started when me and three of my friends back in 2018, we sort of with very little experience set up a restaurant. Now we no longer own it. We sold it back in 2021, called Kotu Labs, and that's where the journey towards being curious about these other fields started. I mean, with the whole restaurant industry. I know you said I'm a jack of all trades, but I'm not a successful jack of all trades as of now. I'm still working towards it, something that I'm keenly following up on. But just to add to me as an individual, my ultimate goal when I set out my plan for who I wanted to be many years ago is to eventually be a social entrepreneur, to have my own non-for-profit organization that helps facilitate growth in the country. And I base most of my work based on the principles that I look at there. So that's who I am. It's still a starting point. I haven't still achieved the level I want to achieve. But yeah, I enjoy doing what I do.
I'm sure you have a lot of interesting stories for us to look forward to. Next, we have a legal powerhouse, someone who tackles the world of law with expertise and grace. Joining us is Prasadi Wijayesingha, a legal advisor and soon to be a full-time student specializing in corporate law. Prasadi, welcome.
Thanks, Shay, for having me here today. I'm honored to be called as a powerhouse, but I believe I have a long way to go. But I'll consider it as an inspiration. So I started my career as an assistant lecturer at London School of Marketing with Denham. I got to know Denham there. And then after about 2 years, I thought I should practice because I had a license to practice law in Sri Lanka. And I thought, okay, what a waste, right? So then I joined a firm where I got the gist of civil law practicing and commercial law. And then suddenly once I saw, randomly an advertisement looking for a senior executive at a conglomerate in Sri Lanka, I thought, why don't I give it, chance? Then I applied, had to face an exam, and then I got through. And I don't know, within a short period of time, I started my corporate counseling, which I always wanted to do. I always wanted to be a corporate woman. All my inspiration, powerhouse ladies were not from, low background, like they were all from corporate background. So yeah, in 2019, I started working for this conglomerate where we have market presence in mobility, manufacturing and healthcare. And then after 5 years of time period there, recently I bid goodbye because I'm starting my research. I'm going to be a full-time research student starting from May. So yeah, that's my background.
Thank you for
She
sharing.
is indeed a powerhouse, though she says she's not. From the time I've known her to this point, I've seen how she's grown. So don't let her kid you when she thinks she's not.
And finally, we have a leader in a quintessential Sri Lankan industry, someone incredibly passionate about their work. Please welcome Shehan Samarasingha. Tell us, what drew you to the tea industry?
Yeah, hi Shahara, how are you? So I think I would attribute that to my family background because my father has been in the business for almost 50 years now. So I've lived and breathed tea all my life. So that's how I got kind of into the business. So in 2008, I moved to Australia for my studies and then came back in 2018 to join the family business. So we have two different businesses. It's one is Karagoda Tea Factory, which is the manufacturing side of the tea business, which I joined when I came down from Australia. And then in 2022, I joined the export arm as well, which is Unitrades Private Limited, which I'm still learning the whole, nitty-gritties of the whole business. So that's my that's my background.
Interesting.
His love for tea is such that when someone wanted coffee, he said, no, coffee is not available, it's only tea. So he's an ardent promoter of tea. That's why, Prasad, if you're wondering why you didn't get your cup of coffee, it's all Shehan.
He's to blame, okay.
He's to blame. And marketing.
Let's kick things off by discussing the foundation of happiness at work, building capacity and well-being. So let's dive in and explore what perks, programs and company culture practices can truly make us feel good about showing up toward work. So my first question is to you, Shehan. As a leader in the tea industry, what wellness programs or perks have you implemented at your company to keep your employees feeling energized and supported considering the demand of the industry?
Yeah, so there is like a common belief in the industry or in any given industry that men kind of work harder than women. But I think every one of us have traveled to the hill countries of Sri Lanka where we see most of the time the plantation workers are women, right? So we are no different in the tea factories as well. Most of our workforce is women, and like I would say about 95% of the women, because they work, I personally feel as if they are working much harder than men. And it's also a good thing as they get to earn two incomes with this, hard times in Sri Lanka with the economic crisis and all. The men are able to, work in a different industry and gather collect an income from that end, and also have a dual income by women working in the tea industry. So that's what I feel, because I feel as if it should be an equal opportunity for everybody, and we have made our workplace safer in those terms, so that women feel safer to come and work with us. So that's how something that we, not only us actually, all the factories around us, they employ the same policies. So yeah, so that's how I feel as if like we have done something to build the community and give a chance to those workers.
I saw Prasadi smirking when you said that. Was there a reason why you?
No, actually now it's a discussion, open discussion, to anyone. Although, I mean, I also don't believe that there's a difference between women and male and female workers. It's just that, sometimes I've seen open advertisements where for the same job, men get paid more than what women get paid, right? With the same job, the cashier jobs you take. I saw this advertisement, I can't remember where, I saw this on internet, where in front of the company, there's a small advertisement where cashiers, we need cashiers, male 1,500 per day, women 1,250 per day. So I don't understand the difference, but why there is a difference. So when he said that there is, like opportunity for everyone, so sort of happy thing to
I suppose
celebrate.
it's something that gets discussed not only locally but internationally.
Internationally,
too.
yes.
It's a problem evident everywhere. Something that I've seen, like you said, Shehan, specifically in the agriculture sector. If you take a female person, there is that extra love and care that they have. And you speak to any agriculture instructor, they'll say with trees, you have to love the trees, you have to care for trees. That female touch is different. I'm not saying they're only suited for agriculture. I mean, within the corporate sector, I could vouch for the fact that sometimes female employees contribute way more. It's just that we have this perception, and third world countries like Sri Lanka still hasn't adapted the change. I think globally, little by little, things are changing. I mean, when I say things are changing, still countries like United States of America doesn't really have a female president. I mean, we could, if you look at Sri Lanka, we've had that because of the perception, but work-wise, they are much better. So it's sort of like a perception, and specifically to the audience who's following us today, one thing that's important is to understand if you are running a business from an entrepreneur point of view, you want what's best for the company. And that mental shift is important, because sometimes employing females can get the work done better, as you've said, with the tea industry and as I've experienced with the agriculture industry in the corporate world, because they're driven, they're and they also have to sort of grab that opportunity. I always argue this. I still feel like it's a controversial thing. Two things that I always tell people: sometimes there are females fighting for equal rights. You could never, in my opinion, consider male and female to be equal, because females are different in many ways. I mean, men can't give birth so far. I don't know if things change. I mean, you never know where it's heading. Because females are a different breed, and I mean, it's different. Like you can't.
But those are the reasons why sometimes women get discriminated in workforce.
Yes.
Then I'm like, I know certain people who think, okay, I can't recruit newly married women,
yes,
because they might get pregnant and they will give less contribution.
But my experience has been different, especially with the group of people that I work with, because they're more driven. There's the culture is changing, the thought process is changing. I also feel, I mean, again, this is why I said it's a bit controversial. I always tell female individuals that you have to stand up sometimes. I mean, whilst we try to get the male community to think equality is important, there is also this group of females that think, hey, I'm a woman, so I'm not suited at doing that. But that's something that constantly needs to change, something that we keep talking about too, is for them to stand up and say, hey, you know what, for them to equally stand up and say it's important, because they are brilliant in many ways in getting work done compared to males.
Yeah, that's what I said. The tea industry has always, like, from what I have seen, it's been like female driven from the workforce point of view. So I mean, we have all seen, right? Like most of the tea pluckers, and from what I see in the factory, most of them are women.
How's the efficiency, Shehan?
Efficiency also much better, because we, like I said, in the factory we don't have something to compare it with, because most of them are women and working extremely hard, and we have no complaints at all. So yeah, it's going good. Like don't have to change anything there.
So efficiency wise also there is no difference. So but
I would say it's much better.
so you pay better than you pay a male person.
It's the same.
Same wage. See the difference. Maybe something that needs to change. But no, all jokes aside, so it's the same level of efficiency, because that's what we experienced even with the very little work we've done with agriculture, getting females employed, the way they care for trees and the way they work. It's the same thing, and they are more, in a way, more disciplined. I'd say.
I'm sure all the females watching feels very empowered right now. My next question is to Prasadi. In the fast-paced world of law, collaboration is key. How does your company culture foster collaboration and sense of belonging?
Yeah, so I worked for a conglomerate. Like my last job was at a conglomerate where we have about like 4,000 employees. So collaboration is like very difficult, like not easy at all. Because now I work for a centralized function where I sit at the holding company. So you have a lot of subsidiaries. So all these people like SBUs, we call them our clients, right? So clients come to us. And if you don't know the depth or the in and out of what they do, we can't cater to their requirements, right? Now, for an example, you say that someone coming from manufacturing, they want me to do a manufacturing agreement. If I don't know the steps involved in that manufacturing process, okay, from loading a container, unloading a container to loading finished goods, if I don't know that, I don't know how to provide my services to them, right? So the collaboration has to start with education, I think. I have to be enlightened of what they're doing. So in a conglomerate, it's not easy for the employees to take that initiative. That's how I believe it, because I know I call them, I ask hundreds of questions. Sometimes they hate me because I ask questions. But I think HR has to play a key role, to take these initiatives, to conduct awareness sessions, and that's HR can play a key role. So our HR, like my HR, how they handled it, it's like they had induction programs, and they took us sometimes to sites to show us this is how they work. So I understand it's not only my job, it's their job also. So I have to be supportive. I have to help them to do their job, which will ultimately benefit the company and me, right? And also, I think now collaboration, now normally when you take a typical company, once a year for the financial year, you get a set of goals which you have to achieve, right? Sometimes these employees, they don't even know whether their goals are aligning to the ultimate goals of the company, right? I think that awareness also have to happen, so that they can take a bit of pride, a bit of ownership of what they're doing. It's not that I'm doing this to complete my goals and to get an appraisal in the end of the financial year, but I add value to the company. Because I did this, my company could achieve this. So, I'm a proud employee, a very proud employee. So when I take the pride of it, it's not only the work. I just don't come to office to take someone else's orders. I just come in, if I'm supposed to give 100%, I'll give my 120%, because I'm responsible. I'm very much responsible for what I do. And I feel that I get that sense of belonging. So I think one thing, collaboration is very important. And in big companies, the initiative has to be taken by HR. And education and awareness is very much important in collaboration. That's the only way how to achieve collaboration.
It's true. Cross-function collaboration.
It's very true, I think. Yeah. When we were running Kottu Labs as a restaurant, I remember, you have different individuals. You have the kitchen, you have the place that packs the food and sends it out. The name, I can't remember what that role is called, but you have that, and then you have the cashier, you have the waiter. Sometimes you get the one that's waiting on people coming and telling the kitchen, can you please send this through quickly, or the packing person says do this and all that stuff, and the packing person or the one who plates it sends it in a plate that's not tidy, and then the waiter gets scolded or something, or the cashier is taking orders but he's not aware that it's out of stock. So that connection, that entire chain connection is important. But for that to happen, sometimes what we felt was this is something we implemented, except for the whole cooking element. We got them to work the line, the entire rotation, so they were aware of it and they knew what was happening. So even if they felt the pressure from a customer, they knew the pressure inside the kitchen, so they were able to manage. So I mean, that's just a small operation. So with a company that has 4,000 people, it's a bit difficult. And something that I personally learned from my former workplace is we had this whole department attitude, this whole individual team attitude. Oh, this is my department. This is not my role. This is what I am supposed to do. And when that mentality comes in, because it's also important, like you said, Prasadi, for people to be aware of the company goals. And there's this famous thing that goes on, social media, YouTube, where you can't clap with just one finger. You have to have all your fingers to make the sound that you need. So everybody needs to work. So one thing that I am very reluctant to hear within the team that I work with, when I say team, the entire company is one team for me. I say one team, one family, but we don't have this whole department thing. I'm accounts department. We call it as functions. So that way, that psychologically they know they are eventually, even if you're marketing or finance, you're still part of one team, which is the company that you work for.
Let me add one thing there, Denham. I'll tell you now. It will seems like it's be difficult to handle a situation like that in a conglomerate, but I'll tell you a trick which my company did, so that you guys also can get an idea, right? So every year they have this event. It's called a town hall.
It's called a
town hall.
Okay.
Yeah, it is there. It's sort of an international concept. I think you might have
probably America.
Yes,
the
town
president
hall,
has a town hall.
Yes.
Yeah. So
in that, what they do is annually they tell the employees, look, this is our goal. Okay, for this year, maybe for the next 5 years, they'll tell you, and they will tell you, these are your department goals to achieve this. So they have the main goals, sub goals. Okay, the beauty is it's not only my department, it's other departments also. So normally when you are given with a goal, you are very selfish. You just want to achieve that, and you just get whatever the benefit you are going to get. But when you see other people's goals also, you understand, oh, I can't be rigid as I want to be, because I have to facilitate them also, because without them achieving their goal, we can't go to that ultimate goal of the company. So I think then again, awareness is the key. Like you
Agreed.
have to teach everyone what other people do. Then you won't be, your contribution will be fair, I guess.
Okay.
just to give a small example, like I don't see this happening in a lot of Sri Lankan companies, but I used to work for a construction company in Australia. I did the finance work, but my boss actually got me to go to sites and learn how to, it was a plumbing company, learn the safety side of things, like the compliance safety work, and also even the plumbing work. I have done all the plumbing and this and those small work that I could do. So my boss made me go there, learn from the site supervisors, and just speak to them, understand how that side of the work is done as well, because I can't be doing just the finance part of things, because for me to bill the customer, I should know, okay, which part is completed in that business, in that project. So without knowing, the site foreman would come and tell me, okay, we have fixed so many bath spouts or showers or whatever. I wouldn't know what they are. So my boss made me go to the site and have a checklist and do the safety checks and everything. So it gave me a different aspect of the whole business, something that I have not learned in uni or in any other way. So those kind of things happen in other countries, but I have not experienced that in Sri Lanka, unfortunately.
To a great extent, you mentioned that was happening with your company.
Yeah, but not to the level where we go and get to engage with what they do. It's just that we go and see, because of course, like it my function, we can't do that also.
Yeah, I understand. But it helps perform your job better,
Yes, of course.
because you're aware of everything.
Yes.
So, cross-functional, as in being aware of what the other person does, genuinely helps you perform better. I think that's been the experience with the small operations that I've had or been part of, is as soon as we do it, they understand better and they can perform better in their role.
Exactly.
I think mentality plays a role as well. I get paid for this, I'm only going to do this. If you don't get out of that, I don't think you'll get there. And I can say my boss
has installed that in you.
Has installed that in me. And speaking about my boss, my next question is for you. With your diverse entrepreneurial background, you've you've likely seen a lot of work styles. How have you created a work environment that actively encourages a healthy work-life balance for yourself and your team?
I probably have to speak to my wife to get the answer whether I have a work-life balance. But all, all jokes aside, I think one of the things that we sort of start of this year over the every year on the first of every year, I send this message out to all the staff for the year, setting a plan for the year and what we've achieved over the past year. But this year, we focused on two things. One was extreme sense of ownership, something that I keep talking about. Because I tell most of the people I work with, like, Shay and them, I get the opportunity to interact. I say, I don't want to be rigid, be behind you and say, hey, you have to do A to Z. You have to do this. When is this happening? Hey, did you clock in at the right time? Are you clocking out at the right time? Because it doesn't make sense for me personally. I don't know how it will be with 4,000 odd staff thing, if it's possible. But for me, what I'm interested in is you're clear on your goals, you're clear on what you need to do. As long as you take ownership in your work, as long as you do it, I don't mind. So sometimes I get people, we have 3 different work hours. They don't come in at the right time. They come at 10:30, 11. The only time I get ticked off is if there's a meeting and then they're not aware of the fact that there's a meeting and that they're not there on time. But amidst that, working around that, as long as they are aware of what they do, I don't mind at the time, what time they come, as long as the work gets done. Obviously, extreme sense of ownership puts the responsibility in them. So with that, that helps with their personal life too. I know there's some who, they're young, so they stay out late, they sleep quite late into the night, and then they struggle to come to work at a certain time, but they stay back, they get the work done. I'm fine with it. There's some who've just gotten married, settling down into a new lifestyle. I mean, it's different when you're married, and then that allows them that flexibility as long as they get the work done. And we've got various initiatives as a company that we encourage people to work on their own passion projects and all that stuff. That entails them that opportunity to grow, which I can speak more about later in the podcast. But what that does is that gives them the opportunity to develop on their personal side of things in terms of family life, or it be passion, whatever they like to work outside. Because with the economic crisis, it's not easy to sustain just with one thing. You have to work on multiple things. So for me, as long as the work gets done and it gets done with our company goals, objectives, I'm fine. So the theory that I practice is extreme sense of ownership, and if they take ownership into the work that they do and get it done, which means you have to be present for a meeting at a certain time, you have to be there. You have to achieve a target as a team, that is the company team, company being a team, or the individual function, you have to get that done. As long as that gets done, I have no issue in terms of the flexibility. I mean, there are sometimes staff that don't feel 100%, don't feel fit enough. We don't tell them to take a sick leave. We don't tell them to take a day off. They can work from home because we have the flexibility in the way which we work. I mean, obviously it differs. If it's a tea factory, you can't do that. It's different. But as long as we create that environment, I'm assuming tea factories also, you could find that whole extreme sense of ownership where there are some people that you'll be surprised when you tell people this is the work you need to do. And they're able to sometimes, when they have something, if you notice, there's this thing where some people, hey, I have to go at 3 o'clock today. They'll make sure they get the work done at 3 o'clock to be able to go. But if you have to get something done and you have time till 5, you will drag that thing till 5. It's a mental shift towards, hey, this is what I need to do. As long as I get it done, the company has entrusted me. So obviously, it's a two-way thing. Whilst the company encourages it, it's up to each individual to drive through. So that's one thing that we focused on at the start of the year. The second thing is we had a team goal that we worked on called happiness, passion and purpose. We call it the HPP index, where we sat down with the team and we told the team, hey, why not you guys come up with a goal as a team, what you would like to come to achieve out of the company. And it came up to be happiness, passion and purpose. And to explain that a little bit further, it was to help them be happy at their work environment. So, we have weekly events such as, we play board games, we have various activities and all that stuff. So it's for them coming to office is not like thing that they are pushed to do, they enjoy coming to office. And then we sort of encountered this whole thing where we felt when we created an environment of happiness, they long to come to work. I've heard multiple people mention to me, I sometimes wait till Monday to come to office. I don't want them to say it out loud because their families will wonder what's happening at the office. But it's that environment that we are trying to create. So that came from them, and then through that we try to help build their personal life.
You have to have a sleep, the balance.
Yes.
He doesn't balance, he doesn't sleep.
It's because at a certain age, I think you got to put in effort. And I also believe leading by example. I mean, something that I always believe in is when you all were talking, when I was thinking through, too often, a lot of, like when you said about the checklist and learning the things, sometimes you get the most amount of information when you're running a business, when you talk to the smallest level staff, because they're the ones who are on the field, they're the ones on the ground. And then something that I always believe in is, I always tell the guys, if I don't work and I am not the one that works the most, then I don't feel like getting them to work. So up until now, I mean, I'm assuming nobody can actually say, hey, Denham, I work more than you work, sort of thing. So I have this drive to want to be able to do more. But it's a balance. So I am slowly working towards hitting that balancing point. That's the plan, at least.
Passing the ball. As long as it's not on your court. With that, we come to the end of our first segment. And in our next segment, we'll explore how finding passion and aligning with your company's mission can fuel your drive and motivation.
If you enjoyed that video, make sure to like and subscribe to the GEP YouTube channel. And we also have a bunch of very interesting practical short courses which are related to the episodes from the podcast. So stay tuned.